So if you aren't able to attend, hopefully you can. So the first thing is you're going to log into the Clarity dashboard and click on InfoSparks. And once you're there, the first thing I want you to do is over here and click on your profile. And at that point in time, you can upload your photo, go down here and add any of your agent information, office information. You can just click from your MLS profile and automatically populate. If you want a different professional title than what they bring in, you can uncheck that and put it in manually like I have done. And then once you've done all your required changes, just click on Update Profile. Okay. Once you're done with that, I'm going to go to page 2 of the instructions. We're going to click on Fast Stats. I'm going to start with Fast Stats first because it's a quick and easy way, thus the name Fast Stats, for you to get some information about our local market and its conditions. So I'm first going to click under Local Market Updates, and I'm going to select a specific community. So let's say I want to see what's happening in Bartonville, Illinois. I can select a time period, so I can go back in time if I want, but I could just do most recent and click View Report. And now to bring me up some statistics for just that community that I can see the single family detached and the single family attached home. There's not very many, obviously, in Bartonville. So a comparison. So the new listings in Bartonville are down 66% in August. Pending sales are also down, but not as much, 15.4%. Closed sales down 9.1%, but it's only one unit. If I look at year to date, listings are down 18%, but pendings are up 38%. So this is a real good indicator of a market that we might start being able to see some appreciation when you have that much demand and not that many houses that are coming on the market. So this is a really important thing because in addition to being down that many listings, new listings come on the market, with our sales being up, those are being absorbed so much more quickly. I like to pay attention to the median price. In this case, unfortunately, it's just staying pretty stable rather than average, but still it's showing you maybe a mix of those high-end to low-end homes. So I'm going to close this screen. I'm going to go back to this map and I'm going to click on Peoria Area Region. Remember, our MLS system is made up of 4 local associations. Peoria area, Quad Cities, Capital, that includes here and over west of us in the Galesburg area, and then down south in the Egyptian area. So I'm going to click on the Peoria area. And then you could pick any county that you're interested in. So I'll go ahead and click, or we can look at the entire region, but I'll click on Peoria County and just view that Peoria County report. So again, just like I looked at Bartonville specifically, this is a quick and easy way to do a snapshot in time for the Peoria County and what's happening with it and its market conditions. Okay. So I'm going to go back to Fast Stats, and this time I'm going to click on the housing supply overview. And then I'm going to click on the Peoria Area Region. And this gives me a more detailed report at 7 pages. You've got some quick facts, and then I can scroll down to see what's happening with closed sales. It gives me a graph by price ranges, compared the 2019 compared to 2020. So you can see some where there's higher sales in different price ranges. That one's just a little bit lower. And then our previously owned new construction, as you can see, is barely non-existent of August year to date compared to August this year. And then it breaks it down into some charts. Our days on the market until it's sold. Again, our hardest hit is our new construction. A chart for our medium sales price. The percentage of list to sales price received. Again, that depends on your price range and construction type. Look at our inventory of homes for sale. So you can see in every category, we have less homes on the market than we did a year ago at this particular point in time. So when you're meeting with your buyers, talk to them about how when they find that perfect house, they may need to act on it. And I'll give you a really good example that just happened on one of my listings. So 2 evenings ago, I received an offer on one of my listings, and it was low. We're going to take that. My seller and I discussed, I always say, don't just reject something. We came back with, a verbal counter on that particular offer. The next morning, there was another showing, and that person wrote a higher offer than we'd even countered for. So my first response to the first agent was, we're withdrawing our counter. She then asked me, is it because of another offer? I did not answer until I talked to my seller to say, how do you want me to handle this? So we did go back to the first person and say, yes, we have received another offer. If your person wants to submit something else, we'll wait until this time and you can consider it. They did decide to submit something. So we went back to the second person, said, we have received another offer, told her the situation. We'd had one the evening before, was not accepted. They came up as well. And the second buyer got the house. My moral to the story is, had the first buyer written a great offer at the beginning, they may be the proud accepted offer, but because they tried to lowball at the beginning, this house, they ended up losing out on the house. So you have to really look at what's happening in our market, and now's not maybe the time to negotiate and take those chances of losing a property. So hopefully that helps. Another stat that's in Fast Stats is our showing time showings report. So I'm going to click on that and look at our market itself. You can look at the whole region if you want to, but it breaks it down first by county. So we'll look at Peoria County first. We've had a total of 3,966 showings is the trend. The showings per listing is about 4.1, and they're managing about 970 listings at this time. If I keep scrolling down through this report, then it breaks it down into a more detailed report. So let me try to find Peoria. All right, Peoria, and we're going alphabetically. So this is probably even a better chart. And let me make this a little bigger. Hopefully that will show on your screen as well. But our increase year over year is up these percentages. So overall, we have a 22.6% increase, but August 2020 compared to August 2019, we were down a little bit. Same thing about the number of showings per listing is up year over year change, but for that particular month, it was only up about 0.3%. But you can see the managed listings are down 34%. So there's a lot less listings in the system than there were a year ago. So again, all of these stats are there for help you interpret the market and help your seller interpret, or your buyer, of what's going on in the marketplace and the property they're considering. So now that we've done Fast Stats, we're going to actually look at InfoSpark. So InfoSpark allows you to drill down a little bit and select your own criteria for things. So if I use this drop-down menu, I can select by school district. The tract is for the capital area, not us. Subdivision, by county, by a specific association, by a certain city, by zip code, or I can pick some specific areas, and we'll talk about that towards the end, where you can draw your own actual map of what you want to keep track of. So we're going to keep it, I'm going to switch this right now to the association and pick our association. But if you're looking at a specific town, I wouldn't pick it by association. I'd make sure I pick it by town, because we have some overlap of Galesburg areas that are listed in our market, et cetera. It's not just our towns anymore. We got to really focus on the town, not on the association. So one of the things I can do is I can go by their price ranges they already have set, or I can customize my own price ranges. I want to look at any specific price ranges. So in my example, I have on your handout, 300 to 349, 350 to 399, 400 to 449, and 450 and above. And I'm going to hit done. So now I have my custom ranges. So I can hit these two arrows now and divide that up by those price ranges. So I can see at a glance very easily median sales price, new listings, et cetera, any of these tabs across the bottom. So if I want to go to month supply, I can easily see in all price ranges it's 3.5, but here's what it is in those price ranges. So you can see how they're above our typical market conditions. And we get to 450 and above, it's still a 9.3 month supply of homes. So it is not a seller's market in that price range in the whole association. That may not be true for a specific community. So we used to be able to say, for the Peoria area market, here's what's happening. We're now micro markets. We talk about there's no such thing as a national weather forecast. There's no such thing as a national real estate forecast. It is micro markets. So you really need to drill down more, maybe in the areas that you're looking at. So if I change this now, and I could even compare, I could add an area to compare on here. So if I want to compare a city, I can type in Dunlap and add that. That didn't come in. Okay. And we can do some comparisons between the two. So here is Peoria and here's what's Dunlap is doing. I'm not going to change the price ranges now, but I'll do a comparison there. So you can see the Peoria area, what's happening in those price ranges, and the Dunlap. So let me go back to, I'll just go back to one area for now. And we're going to put in Morton. Because I heard from one of my new agents the other day, Morton is a for sale by owner market. Oh, probably because I have association picked. So if you sort of remember those price ranges from the Peoria area, I'm going to go back and customize these to my 300, 350 to 399, 400, and done. So now I'm going to hit this to see what they are in those price ranges. So there's nothing right now in that 4 to 449 that they can report a month supply, but you can see how low it is in that 3 to 349. It gets a little higher in these two price ranges, but not as dramatically as a Peoria market overall. So if you had a higher price listing in Morton, the likelihood of it selling is higher than in the MLS, Peoria MLS overall. So you'd have to compare it by those communities. So it's important sometimes if you have a property that's not selling, maybe it's in Pekin, to compare it to how it might be doing in a different market. And the only way to maybe make it more enticing is by price or condition or those kind of things. We also can continue to customize a report by, if we want all single family detached, we can do it by square footage, and we can customize those fields as well too, if you want to do that. So if I only want to look at those properties that are 2,500 square feet or more, and I'm only interested in those that are 4 bedrooms or more. So you have to be careful of customizing it too much, or you're going to narrow your report down too high. But you can see these graphs and what's happening. And maybe you just want to look at, we're just going to say, I'm going to take all these out, and we're just going to look at all price ranges. So when you get into all that category, you can see how high in 2017 our month supply was. It dropped way down here in January of 2019 went back up a little bit, but here's what's happening, and we're going back up a little bit, and all those price ranges for that criteria. But if I remove some of that criteria and we look at just Morton overall, that's where we get our 2.0. So our peak in that Morton market of our highest month supply of homes is 4.3, and now it's down to about 2. So it never really reached a really dramatic time, because a 4.6 month supply of homes is a pretty balanced market. So hopefully this helped. You can compare these. You can just keep clicking on various tabs. So if I want to look at how many homes were for sale over that time period in Morton, you can see again, we had our highest peak of homes that were for sale in July of 2018. And right now there's only 43. So look at that dramatic difference from 43 homes to 98. You know, Jeff often says it's almost half in many of those areas of the choices that buyers have to pick from. So it's definitely become more of a seller's market in that particular area. And again, in some others. So maybe you can be a little bit more aggressive on price, not extremely, because it still has to appraise, but those are things to check for. If I want to look at the pending sales chart, that's what's happened to the pending sales. You can see that graph that's going up, or closed sales. Again, all I have to do now, once I've picked my ranges and my criteria and what area I really want to focus in, I can just keep changing the buttons at the bottom to get the stats that I want to look at. So once there's a report that I want to show, maybe I want to show a buyer the number of homes for sale. They just don't believe me that what's happening in the marketplace and why I think they need to be maybe a little bit more aggressive in their offer. I can now share this report. So if I go to share, I have a couple different ways to share this. I can do it live, that it always is updated with the latest data that's coming out. Or I'm going to recommend most often static. If you send it to yourself and you want to keep track of something, then maybe you can do it static. So if I want to do a PDF, it's great for printing. Or I can do a social and email, and I can share away. So in this case, I'm going to hit share for social media. That's the URL. I'm going to view it in a new window. So once I use that link, this is what that report is going to show. And it shows my criteria is for Morton and all price ranges. Okay, so homes for sale. So I would want to give an explanation of this when I did this post of what am I referring to. And if you want to maybe send it to a seller or even on a post, what I would encourage you to do is take this URL that shows up, and you could even go here and copy it either way. And I'm going to go to the Mac Center. And we're going to take advantage of the shortened URL that's in the Mac Center. While it's loading, I need to get to the URL shortener. And again, your tiles may look different than mine because of what you've selected to be your favorites, etc. But I now can go create link. I can paste in that link I just copied and name it Morton homes for sale history. And maybe I want to put a date on it. I did it 09, 24, 20. Okay. So I know when did I pull this report, and I'm going to create it. So now it shortened my link. I can edit this link now. Take out this gobbledygook after here and label it Morton homes for sale. And I would probably put a date after it. And this one is through August, so August 20, 08-20, because even though I pulled the report on the 20th, I mean the 24th of today, this report is only going to report through the end of August. So now I have a customized URL that I can keep track of clicks on it. So I'm going to copy that URL. I always recommend testing it. I'm going to open up a new tab, paste that tab in. And it did take me to the report that I wanted to use. So now if I wanted to go to Facebook, I could just go to my Facebook page. Create a post. Put in that link. And it gave a preview button on it. So you could say something about this. I'm not going to do it because I would want to think more, and that's not something that I'm interested in posting about right now. But just want to show you how you can use this information. I've seen other agents post about it, but how you can explain the market and what's happening in our marketplace, and maybe now's the time for someone to put their house up for sale. This one you might not want to show because it may incentivize Morton sellers to continue to keep trying to sell for sale by owner. All right, so one of the things I mentioned, let me close this, was My Areas. So My Areas allows you to customize a specific, by a map drawing, an area that you want to do stats on that isn't defined by a subdivision, a city, a zip code, etc. So if I go to My Areas, it's going to bring up this map. And if I use this drop down, you're going to see ones I've already created. And it's archived just because I haven't used it very much. So I'm going to type in an old neighborhood I used to live in. So you want to find, like in this case, I'm going to put in a specific address of where I used to live in, because you've got to drop a pin somewhere. Let me move this down a little bit. And now I want to zoom in on that area. So maybe by subdivision, it's only going to pick up a certain area, but I want to, and again, I'm not going to concentrate on the areas to say this is exactly what I do, but I want to go further than just a defined subdivision, but I don't want to go as far as a whole entire city on here. So once I have my pin placement and the map size that I want, I now can draw it. So I recommend you use a polygon because you can start and stop where you want it. So I'm going to click on this, and I want to go clear over to here to capture the subdivision. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to draw over to here. I'm going to go down to here, over to here. And again, remember, I'm not really concentrating to make sure it is exactly the area that I want. So I'm going to hit save, and then you get to name it. So I'm going to say East Peoria neighbor. You define it how you want to. And it's been saved, and I can close it. So now when I go back to my InfoSparks, let me get out of here, InfoSparks. And I want to look at my specific area that I've drawn. I can go here and go to My Areas, and it's going to give me those choices that I have created. So if I click on that East Peoria area that I drew by map, I can now get statistics for that specific map. So one of the ones that I did was for where I live right now on my neighborhood. You know, so I could find out those statistics for that specific area. So I know we have some agents that used to really like our old areas that we had in the MLS by area 3 or those kind of things. This allows you to draw that out. If you have a specific area you think is very comparable to, and that you want to really focus on and get the information on, then use My Areas for that and draw the map that you want to use to get those stats for. All right, I think that's all I have. I'm going to pause the recording for a moment